At the Thanksgiving party, I said, "Grandpa, thanks for the $200 the other day." He looked confused and said, "$200? The gift I gave you was $500,000. $500,000. What do you mean?" I froze. My sisters and my parents' faces went pale. 30 minutes later, I called the police. Sometimes life hits you with a moment so utterly shocking, so deeply unsettling. It feels like the whole world just tilts. And for me, that moment hit right in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, when I realized someone had stolen $500,000 meant for me. Let me take you back to that Thanksgiving. Picture it, my grandpa's house, the smell of turkey and pumpkin pie filling the air, everyone gathered around the table, full and happy. I casually thanked Grandpa Walter for the $200 he'd given me a month earlier when my car broke down. He looked at me, utterly confused, and said, "Joshua, it wasn't $200. It was $500,000. My blood didn't just run cold, it froze solid. My sister Angela and my parents went absolutely silent, their faces draining of all color. Right there, at the table, with trembling fingers, I pulled out my phone and checked my bank account. And there it was, plain as day, a single $200 deposit on that date. Someone had stolen $499,800 that was meant to change my life. Within 30 minutes, I was on the phone with the police. But to understand how we got there, we need to rewind a bit. Just a month before, my life was simpler, predictable even. I was 28, an accountant in Portland, had my own apartment, paid my bills, and was diligently saving for a house. Nothing extravagant, just a solid, honest life built on hard work. Then, my car decided to teach me a harsh lesson in humility. One Tuesday evening, driving home, I heard this god-awful grinding sound. Transmission gone. The mechanic, Tom, gave me the bad news, $3,000 to fix it. My savings? $1,200. My credit card? Maybe $1,500 more. I was short. Sitting in that greasy garage, smelling oil and rubber, I felt like a total failure. I'm an accountant, for crying out loud. I'm supposed to be good with money. But rent in Portland isn't cheap, student loans are relentless, and I'd helped Angela with her mortgage 6 months prior when her husband, Craig, hit a rough patch. I had nothing left. So, I did something I hadn't done since college. I called Grandpa Walter and asked to borrow money. My hands literally shook dialing his number. Grandpa was 82, living on a postal worker's pension. He'd delivered mail through rain and shine for 35 years. He wasn't a rich man, but 3 years ago, something incredible happened. He won $8 million on a lottery ticket. After taxes, he had about $4.5 million. He bought a nicer house, helped his church, donated to charities, and set money aside for his family. But he still lived simply. Same old pickup, same flannel shirts, same terrible jokes. When I called him that Tuesday, I felt sick with embarrassment. I explained about the transmission, stammered through an apology, promised to pay him back. Grandpa listened, quiet, then said, "Joshua, you're my grandson. You don't borrow from family. You accept help. Give me your account number. I'll take care of it." I gave him everything. Account, routing number, the works. We talked a few more minutes. Then I thanked him and hung up. 2 days later, Thursday morning, I checked my bank app during lunch. There it was, a deposit for exactly $200. The memo, from Grandpa. I stared at that screen for a long time. $200. Not $3,000. Just $200. It was this weird mix of gratitude and utter confusion. I figured, maybe he couldn't afford more. Maybe I'd misunderstood. He was so generous with everyone. Maybe his lottery money was running low. Maybe he'd spread himself too thin. I couldn't bring myself to call back and ask for more. That felt greedy, disrespectful. So, I texted my thanks, used the $200, my savings, and maxed out my credit card. I'd be eating ramen for months, but my car worked. I was grateful for what I got. Now, flash forward to that Thanksgiving. Everyone's full, happy, just relaxing. And that's when I made my innocent comment, setting off a chain reaction that would tear our family apart. Grandpa's shocked face, my parents and Angela stunned silent. I checked my bank, confirming the meager $200. Grandpa, fumbling with his phone, pulled up his bank statement. A withdrawal, dated the same day as my deposit, $500,000. Memo, for Joshua, early inheritance. The world tilted. $499,800. Gone. Stolen before I even knew it was mine. Angela, her voice shaking, said, "Wait, Dad, maybe he got the account number wrong? Maybe it went to someone else." Grandpa shook his head, showing us his texts. My account number. It matched. Craig, Angela's husband, tried. Maybe the bank made an error? But I was already scrolling through my transactions, months back. Nothing. No $500,000 deposit. No rejected transfer. No error. Just that $200 and my regular paychecks. The money had simply vanished. My dad grabbed his phone. "We need to call the bank." My mom quietly replied, "They're closed, Donald. It's Thanksgiving." I looked at Grandpa's face. He looked 10 years older, his skin gray. "I don't understand," he whispered. "I did everything right. The wire transfer went through." That's when I made the decision. I stood up, my legs unsteady, and said, "I'm calling the police." 30 minutes later, 2 officers, Martinez and Thompson, were in Grandpa's living room. Officer Martinez, with kind eyes, was professional. Officer Thompson, younger, took notes. They interviewed us separately, then together. Grandpa showed them his bank statement, the wire confirmation. I'll never forget the look on Officer Martinez's face as she examined it. She showed it to her partner, and they exchanged a glance that made my stomach drop. "The wire transfer shows as completed," she said carefully. According to this confirmation, the money left Mr. Thompson's account successfully and was sent to the account number provided. But I never received it. I pleaded, desperation in my voice. "Check my account. It's not there." Officer Thompson scrolled through my phone. "There's definitely no deposit of that amount. Just the $200. So where did it go?" Angela asked, gripping Craig's hand. Officer Martinez closed her notebook. $500,000. That was enough to buy a house, pay off my student loans, invest for retirement. Life-changing money. And I'd had it for exactly 0 seconds before someone stole it. I couldn't sleep. I kept checking my bank app, as if it might magically appear. I ran scenarios. A banking error, some computer glitch. It'd be sorted out, right? We'd get the money back. But a small voice in my head whispered something darker. What if it wasn't an error? At 11:30 that night, there was a knock on my apartment door. Through the peephole, I saw Angela, wrapped in her arms. I opened it. "Can I come in?" she asked, her eyes red. We sat on my couch. She stared at her hands. "I need to tell you something, and you're going to be angry." My heart started pounding. "What is it?" 3 months ago, Craig lost his job. Fired for falsifying sales reports. He's been lying to me, Joshua, about a lot of things. I felt cold. What does this have to do with the money? Maybe nothing. I don't know, but we're drowning in debt. Our mortgage is 3 months behind. Craig's been gambling, online poker, sports betting, all of it. He kept telling me he'd win it back. We owe so much money. She'd only found out 2 weeks ago when she discovered hidden collection notices. "Angela, you should have told me. Told Mom and Dad." "I was ashamed," she whispered. "I'm 30, and my life is falling apart. Craig promised he'd fix it. He said he had a plan." "What plan?" She shook her head. "He wouldn't tell me. Just said he was handling it." "But Joshua, I swear I didn't take that money. And I don't think Craig did either. We didn't even know Grandpa was giving you anything." I wanted to believe her, but doubt had taken root. "Did Craig know my bank account information?" Angela looked up, tears streaming. "I don't know. Maybe. You logged into your bank from our computer once, remember? 6 months ago, when your phone died, and you needed to pay a bill." She paused. "He could have seen your password if you saved it." My blood ran cold again. I'd clicked yes, without thinking. After Angela left, I tried to sleep, but my mind raced. Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. An unknown number. The message was short. "Your sister didn't take it, but she knows who did. Ask her about the family dinner 3 months ago." I called the number immediately. Disconnected. I texted back. Failed to send. Burner phone. Family dinner 3 months ago. I racked my brain. Then it hit me. August, Dad's birthday. Barbecue at Mom and Dad's in Salem. Normal gathering. Except, now that I thought about it, something had happened. Craig spent about 20 minutes in the garage with my dad. Mom had joked about them smoking cigars, but they came out smelling of motor oil. What were they talking about? I didn't sleep at all. Friday morning, 7 a.m., I called Angela. She sounded groggy, but I didn't care. That family dinner in August, Dad's birthday. What happened in the garage between Craig and Dad? A long silence. Then, how did you know about that? Angela, tell me right now. She started crying. I didn't want you to know. I was trying to protect everyone. Tell me. The story came out in broken pieces. Craig hadn't just been gambling casually. He was deep in with the wrong people. An illegal bookmaker. When he couldn't pay, the bookmaker threatened him, their house, Angela. At that August dinner, Craig had cornered my father, confessed everything. He owed $30,000 to dangerous people. Dad promised to help, told Craig to keep it quiet, not to tell Angela or me. Dad said he'd handle it, but he didn't, did he? I said, my voice hard. I only found out about all this 2 weeks ago, Angela sobbed. A threat letter came to our house. Craig finally told me everything. Dad promised to help, but never did. The debt's grown to $70,000 now, with interest. Joshua, I've been terrified. These people know where we live. I hung up and drove straight to my parents' house. 45 minutes. I made it in 40. Dad's truck was in the driveway. I pounded on the door. Joshua, what is going on? He asked, opening it. You know exactly what's going on. My mom appeared behind him, confused. I pushed past them. Tell me about Craig. The garage conversation in August. My father's face went gray. He glanced at my mom, then back at me. How did you find out? Does it matter? You kept this secret. You knew Craig was in trouble with criminals and said nothing. Did you help him steal Grandpa's money from me? What? No, Joshua, I would never do that. My mother's voice cut through. Someone better explain what's happening right now. So it all came out. My father admitted he knew about Craig's debts and the threats. He'd promised to help, but didn't know how to come up with $30,000. He thought about asking Grandpa, but was too ashamed. I made a mistake, Dad said, his voice breaking. I should have told everyone. But I thought I was protecting the family. By keeping secrets? I shouted. By letting Craig spiral? What else haven't you told us? My mom sat down hard. Donald, what did you do? My father collapsed into a chair, looking 20 years older. 3 months ago, I co-signed a loan for Craig. $25,000 from a personal loan company. I thought he'd pay off his gambling debts. He promised. But he gambled that money too. Lost it all. Now I'm liable for almost $35,000. My mother went pale. You co-signed a loan without telling me? For Craig. I thought I was helping, Dad whispered. The three of us sat there, our family's foundation cracking under the weight of secrets and lies. My phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but something told me to answer. Is this Joshua Thompson? Yes. This is Rebecca Chun from the fraud department at Pacific First Bank. We've been reviewing your account after the police report. We found something unusual. Can you come to our downtown branch today? I'll be there in an hour. My mother was crying. My father looked destroyed. I stood up to leave. I don't know if you stole that money or not, Dad, but I'm going to find out. Joshua, I swear on your mother's life. I had nothing to do with the missing money. I made terrible decisions, but I'm not a thief. I wanted to believe him, but belief felt like a luxury I couldn't afford anymore. I drove to the bank. Rebecca Chun met me in a private conference room. Sharply dressed, focused. Mr. Thompson, we conducted a deep audit. We found something concerning. 2 days before your grandfather's wire transfer, someone accessed your online banking portal from a device that wasn't yours. My heart stopped. What did they do? They changed your account's incoming wire instructions. Specifically, they set up an automated rule that would reroute any incoming wire transfers over $100,000. The rule sent the bulk of the money, for $199,800, to a different account, and only $200 to you. I couldn't breathe. Who did this? Can you trace them? Rebecca shook her head. The login used your actual username and password. The system thought it was you. But the IP address came from a coffee shop in Northeast Portland, Stumptown Coffee. The device was a laptop connected to their public Wi-Fi. The receiving account was a cryptocurrency exchange. Once the wire hit that exchange, it was immediately converted to Bitcoin and transferred out. From there, the trail goes cold. So the money is gone. I'm sorry. Without knowing who set up this scheme, we can't recover it. But, Mr. Thompson, whoever did this knew your username and password. They knew exactly when your grandfather would send the wire. They had detailed knowledge of your banking habits and security questions. This was someone close to you. Craig, the computer at Angela's house. The password I saved 6 months ago. The timing. I think I know who did it, I said. I drove straight to Angela and Craig's house. My mind raced, connecting pieces I didn't want to fit. Craig had access to my password. He'd been desperate for money since at least August. He knew Grandpa won the lottery. He was at Thanksgiving last year when Grandpa mentioned early inheritances. Angela's car was there, not Craig's Jeep. I knocked. Angela answered, eyes swollen from crying. Joshua, I've been trying to call you. Is Craig here? No, he left for work. He had interviews today. He doesn't have a job, Angela. She flinched. He's looking for work. I pushed past her. We need to talk. All of us. Call Mom and Dad. Tell them to come here now. What's going on? I told her about the bank's findings, the rerouted wire, the cryptocurrency, the coffee shop. With each detail, Angela's face grew paler. When I finished, she collapsed onto the couch, head in her hands. It was Craig, she whispered. Oh God, it was Craig. You knew? No. I swear I didn't know, but it makes sense now. He's been acting strange for weeks. Secretive. On his laptop late at night. When I asked, he'd say he was applying for jobs or managing our finances. But Joshua, we don't have any finances to manage. We're broke. My parents arrived 30 minutes later. My dad looked like he hadn't slept. My mom's face was rigid with anger. We gathered in Angela's living room. We need to search Craig's things, I said, looking at Angela. She nodded. His office. He keeps his laptop in there. We went upstairs. It was messy. The laptop sat closed on the desk. Angela opened it. No password. The screen came to life. My dad started going through the browser history while I checked desktop files. What we found made me sick. Search history from 2 months ago. How to reroute wire transfers. Change bank account routing numbers. Bitcoin exchanges. Countries with no extradition to US. How to hide cryptocurrency transactions. What happens if caught for wire fraud? There were bookmarked crypto exchanges, downloaded PDFs about financial fraud. Then we found it. A cryptocurrency wallet app installed. I opened it. The transaction history showed everything. A deposit of $499,800 converted to Bitcoin 3 weeks ago. The exact amount. Then 2 days later, transferred to another wallet. Current balance, 0. Angela made a sound like a wounded animal. My mother wrapped an arm around her. My father stared, mouth open. He really did it, Angela said. My husband stole from my little brother, from our family. I pulled out my phone and called Officer Martinez. I found evidence. You need to come to this address right now. While we waited, I kept searching the laptop. Encrypted messages between Craig and someone saved as JR in a messaging app. I couldn't read most, but a few recent ones were plain text. JR, you did your part. I did mine. Your cut is in your wallet. Craig, JR, they won't. I've done this before. You're clean, Craig. JR, 500K is life-changing money, my friend. Enjoy your share. So Craig wasn't alone. Someone named JR had helped him. Someone with technical knowledge. Someone who'd done this before. Officer Martinez and Thompson arrived with 2 other detectives. We showed them everything. They photographed the laptop screen, took statements, collected the computer. We can arrest him when he returns, Officer Martinez said. We have enough here for charges of wire fraud, theft, and computer crimes. Where is Mr. Brennan now? I don't know, Angela said. He said he had interviews. That was probably a lie. We waited. An hour. Then 2. Angela called Craig's phone. It went straight to voicemail. My dad paced. My mom made coffee. Nobody drank. I sat on the couch, feeling numb. At 4:30 that afternoon, we heard a car. Craig's Jeep. Angela looked at me, terrified. What do I do? Let him come inside. Officer Martinez said quietly. Act natural. The front door opened. Craig walked in, khakis and a button-down, looking like he'd been to job interviews. He saw all of us, froze. His eyes darted to the officers, then to his laptop on the coffee table. Back to the officers. What's going on? He asked, but his voice had no conviction. Craig Brennan, you're under arrest for wire fraud and theft. Officer Martinez stood up, pulling out handcuffs. Craig ran, just turned and bolted out the front door. I didn't think, I just chased him. I'm an accountant, not an athlete, but adrenaline is a powerful thing. I caught him in the front yard, tackled him onto the grass. We struggled for a few seconds before the officers pulled me off and restrained Craig. He was shouting, I did it for us. For Angela. We were going to lose everything. That money was going to save us. By stealing from my family. I screamed back. They cuffed him. Read him his rights. Angela watched from the doorway, crying. As they walked him to the police car, Craig turned back. The money's already gone. You'll never get it back. It's in an account you can't touch. Officer Thompson spoke quietly. Cryptocurrency theft is incredibly difficult to recover from, Joshua. Even with an arrest, getting that money back is unlikely. I watched them put Craig into the back of the police car. My brother-in-law, the man my sister loved. A thief. And he was right. The money was gone. Even with him caught, I might never see a penny of what Grandpa intended for me. The next week was the hardest of my life. Craig was formally charged. Bail set at $200,000. Angela didn't even try to post it. She filed for divorce that same day. I hired Lauren Morrison, an attorney specializing in financial crimes. Gray-streaked hair, sharp glasses, ruthless reputation. Our first meeting, she reviewed everything. Then she looked at me with a sympathy that somehow made it worse. Joshua, I need to be honest. Cases like this rarely end with full recovery. Craig converted the funds to crypto and moved them within days. Once it enters a private wallet, it's almost impossible to trace or freeze. Even if we win a judgment, we can't collect what we can't find. So that's it. He just gets away with it. He's going to prison. Federal prosecutors think they can get 7 to 10 years. But getting your money back? That's a different battle. I left her office feeling defeated. 7 to 10 years felt like a consolation prize. But I couldn't let it go. I called an old college friend, Marcus Kim, who worked in cybersecurity. We met for coffee at the same Stumptown where Craig had accessed my account. I need your help, I told him. The police say the trail goes cold, but there has to be something. Marcus was quiet for a long time. The police have to follow rules. Warrants, procedures. I don't have those limitations for personal research. If you give me access to Craig's laptop info, I can dig deeper. Is that legal? It's a gray area. But if I find something, we can point the police toward it without revealing how we found it. They can then get proper warrants and make it official. I thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. Do it. Marcus spent 2 weeks. He coordinated with the police to legally access Craig's laptop through discovery in the civil case. He examined the encrypted messages more thoroughly than the police had time to. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, he called me at work. I broke the encryption. You need to see this. We met at his apartment. Marcus pulled up the decrypted messages. Hundreds of them, between Craig and JR. They went back almost 6 months. The conversation started with Craig reaching out. Hey man, long time. I need help with something technical. Still doing freelance IT. JR's response, depends on the job. What do you need? From there, it escalated. Craig explained his desperation, mentioned his wife's grandfather won the lottery, that his brother-in-law might be getting a large inheritance soon. He asked if there was a way to intercept a wire transfer. JR was hesitant at first, but Craig was persuasive. He offered JR a 30% cut, $150,000. That changed JR's mind. The messages detailed everything. JR walked Craig through obtaining my banking credentials, setting up the rerouting instructions, provided crypto exchange account info, taught him how to convert the money and transfer it to untraceable wallets. This JR person is the mastermind, Marcus said. Craig was just the inside man with access to your information. But JR has the technical knowledge. And look at this. He pulled up another set of messages, 8 months old. Different conversation. JR talking to someone else about a similar scheme. Then another, a year ago. He's done this before, I said. Multiple times. I found references to at least 4 other similar thefts, Marcus confirmed. This guy is running a systematic operation. He finds desperate people with access to financial info, then helps them steal it for a cut. We took everything to Officer Martinez. She brought in Detective Sarah Chun from the Financial Crimes Unit. Detective Chun reviewed Marcus's findings with intense focus. This is excellent work, she said. Technically, some of this might not be admissible because of how it was obtained, but it gives us enough to know where to look officially. If we can identify JR, we can get proper warrants and build a prosecutable case. Can you identify him from the messages? I asked. We'll start with Craig. He's looking at serious prison time. If we offer him a deal for cooperation, he might give up his accomplice. 2 days later, Detective Chin called me. Craig is willing to talk. He wants a reduced sentence. He's going to give us JR's real identity. They set up a meeting at the county jail. I wasn't allowed to be there, but Detective Chin called me immediately afterward. JR is Jeremy Russo. And you're not going to believe this. He works at Pacific First Bank. My entire body went cold. He works at my bank. He's a customer service representative, she explained. Has access to customer account information. We pulled his employment records. He's been there 3 years. And here's the kicker. 8 months ago, you called the customer service line with a question about setting up an automatic transfer. Jeremy Russo took that call. During the call, he accessed your account details, noted your security information, and started planning. I remembered that call. Setting up auto payments for student loans, asking about transfer limits. The rep had been friendly, helpful. I thought nothing of it. When Craig came to him, desperate, Jeremy saw an opportunity. Detective Chen continued. He already had your information from that call. He knew you were Grandpa Walter's grandson because your account had family emergency contact information. He'd been waiting for the right moment to exploit that information. How many other people has he done this to? I asked. Her voice was grim. We're still investigating, but based on what we found on his personal computer after we raided his apartment this morning, we think at least 11 other victims over the past 2 years. The total amount stolen is over $3 million. Because of the scale of Jeremy Russo's operation, the FBI got involved. Over $3 million across multiple victims, and state lines made it a federal case. Agent Carla Williams led the investigation. Professional, cold, like she'd seen every kind of financial crime. She interviewed me twice, went through my banking history, every interaction with Pacific First. I told her everything. The FBI's cyber crimes unit took over the crypto tracing. Agent Williams explained that while crypto is difficult to track, it's not impossible with the right resources. The FBI had both. Jeremy Russo made a critical mistake, Agent Williams told me. He kept detailed records of every theft, every conversion, every wallet transfer. He did this as insurance, in case any of his accomplices try to cheat him. Those records are going to be his downfall. You can recover the money? I asked, afraid to hope. We're working on it. The cryptocurrency was moved through multiple wallets, but we've identified the final cold storage wallet where Russo consolidated most of the stolen funds. He was planning to wait 5 or 10 years before cashing out. We're in the process of seizing those assets. The legal process took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of paperwork, court orders, jurisdictional arguments, technical procedures I didn't understand. Lauren, my attorney, guided me through it all. The FBI froze Jeremy's cryptocurrency assets. Craig was cooperating fully, providing passwords and wallet information for a reduced sentence. During those 6 weeks, I tried to focus on rebuilding my family. Angela was devastated. Her marriage was over, her husband going to prison. Betrayed by the person she trusted most. She moved out of Hillsborough, got a small apartment in Gresham, started seeing a therapist, got a job as an office manager. We had coffee every Sunday, halfway between our places. At first, it was painful, stilted. But gradually, we found our way back. She apologized repeatedly for Craig's actions, even though I told her it wasn't her fault. I should have seen it, she said one Sunday over pancakes. All the signs were there. The secrecy, the lies, the mood swings. I chose to believe him instead of trusting my instincts. He manipulated you, I said. That's what manipulators do. They make you doubt yourself. We grew closer than we'd ever been. She even started dating a nice teacher she met at a barbecue. My relationship with my father was harder to repair. He'd kept Craig's secrets, co-signed that loan, put the family at risk. My mother was furious with him. They were in couples therapy, working through the breach of trust. But Dad was genuinely remorseful. He admitted his mistakes. He started going to a support group for family members dealing with gambling addiction, trying to understand how he'd enabled Craig. He and I had several long, difficult conversations where he listened more than he talked. That was new for him. Grandpa Walter struggled the most. He blamed himself for everything. I visited him every week. We'd watch football, talk. He opened up about his fear of dying and leaving nothing good behind. I reminded him of all the good he'd done, the charities, the family memories, the love he'd shown. You gave me something more valuable than money, Grandpa. I told him one evening. You showed me what generosity looks like, what family should mean. That's worth more than $500,000. He cried. I'd never seen him cry before. 3 months after that terrible Thanksgiving, Lauren called me with news I'd stopped hoping for. The FBI recovered the assets. They seized the cryptocurrency from Jeremy's cold storage wallet. All of it. For $0.2 million worth. I couldn't speak. Joshua, there were 12 victims total. The FBI recovered 93% of all stolen funds. Because you were the most recent victim and Craig cooperated, they were able to freeze your portion before Jeremy could move it again. You're getting back the full $499,800. I started crying right there on the phone. 3 months of stress, fear, hopelessness, it just poured out. But she wasn't done. There's more. Pacific First Bank is being held liable for their employees' criminal actions and their failure to catch the fraud despite multiple red flags. They're settling all victim claims to avoid a lawsuit. They've agreed to cover all your legal fees, which total about $18,000, and they're paying you an additional $100,000 in damages for emotional distress and negligence. I did the math through my tears. $499,800 recovered, plus $100,000 in damages. That was $599,800. More than Grandpa had originally sent. When do I get it? I asked. The bank is processing everything. You should see the funds in your account within 2 weeks. I called Grandpa first. He whooped with joy like a kid. Then Angela. Then my parents. Then Marcus, to thank him. Then I just sat in my apartment and let myself feel relief for the first time in months. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday morning, I checked my bank account before work. There it was, a deposit of $599,800. In the memo line, settlement, Pacific First Bank. I stared at that number for a long time. Then I transferred $10,000 to my checking account and left the rest in savings. I had plans for that money. Good plans. But first, I had something to do. 6 months after that horrible Thanksgiving, my life looked completely different. Craig was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison for wire fraud and theft. Jeremy Russo got 15 years for his systematic fraud operation. The judge called it a calculated and predatory scheme that destroyed the financial security of hardworking Americans. Angela finalized her divorce. She was living in her small apartment, working at the dental clinic, slowly rebuilding her sense of self. She told me once that losing Craig was the best thing that ever happened to her, even though it hurt. I was married to a lie, she said. Now I get to figure out who I actually am. We still had coffee every Sunday, without fail. Sometimes we talked about heavy things. Mostly we just enjoyed being siblings again. She started dating that teacher. He seemed nice, patient, nothing like Craig. I told her I approved, and she laughed. My parents worked through their issues. Dad paid off the loan he co-signed for Craig using his retirement savings. It wiped him out financially, but Mom said it was important he take responsibility. They're still in therapy. Their marriage is different now, but maybe stronger, built on honesty instead of protecting each other from hard truths. Grandpa Walter got to see justice served, and that brought him peace. But his health declined rapidly. The stress took a toll on his heart. He passed away 8 months after Thanksgiving, surrounded by family. He was 83. At his funeral, the church was packed. Former coworkers, neighbors, people from his church, recipients of his lottery generosity. Person after person stood up and told stories about Grandpa's kindness, how he'd helped them, how he never expected anything in return. When it was my turn to speak, I talked about the gift he tried to give me. Grandpa wanted to give me money for my future, I said. And even though that money was stolen, even though it caused my family so much pain, I'm grateful. Because that gift revealed the truth. It exposed the betrayal that was already there, festering in secret. It gave us a chance to cut out the cancer and heal properly. Grandpa's generosity, as always, came with unexpected wisdom. He cried. I'd never seen him cry before. I used the money to buy a house. Nothing fancy. A 3-bedroom bungalow in southeast Portland with a small yard and a garage that needs work. It's mine, paid in full. I'll never take that feeling for granted. I invested $400,000 in a diversified portfolio, working with a fiduciary financial advisor. That money is for my future, my retirement, my emergency fund, the security Grandpa wanted me to have. And I set up a fund with $50,000, the Joshua Thompson Financial Fraud Victim Assistance Fund. It provides small grants to people who've been victims of financial crimes, helping them cover legal fees and living expenses while they fight for recovery. Lauren Morrison serves on the board. So does Marcus. We've helped 8 people so far. It's not much, but it's something. The remaining money paid off my student loans, bought a reliable new car, and created a cushion so I never have to choose between car repairs and eating. My life is stable now. Quiet. I still work as an accountant. I still have coffee with Angela every Sunday. I visit my parents once a month. I volunteer at the fund. I go to therapy every other week to process everything. People ask if I'm angry, if I hate Craig and Jeremy for what they did. The honest answer is complicated. Yes, I'm angry. What they did was evil. They stole not just money, but peace of mind, family trust, and precious time. They deserve every year of their prison sentences. But I'm also grateful, not for the theft, but for what came after, for the way my family came together, for the truth that emerged, for the strength I found in myself when I decided to fight instead of accept defeat. I learned that money reveals character. Grandpa's generosity revealed his loving heart. Craig's theft revealed his moral bankruptcy. My family's response revealed who we truly were when tested. I learned that fighting for justice matters, even when it seems hopeless. If I'd given up after the police said the money was gone, Jeremy would still be stealing from people. Those 11 other victims wouldn't have gotten their money back. Sometimes, perseverance is the only tool you have, and it's enough. I learned that family can break and heal. Angela and I are closer now. My parents' marriage is more honest. We talk about hard things instead of hiding them. The cracks in our foundation forced us to rebuild stronger. Most importantly, I learned what Grandpa really gave me. Not $500,000. Not a house or financial security. He gave me a clear picture of what generosity looks like. Giving without expectation. Helping because you can. Using your resources to improve someone else's life. That's the inheritance I'll carry forever. I keep a framed photo of Grandpa on my fireplace mantle. It's from last Thanksgiving, before everything went wrong. He's laughing at someone's joke, his eyes crinkled with joy. Every time I look at it, I remember what he said to me once when I was a kid. Joshua, money comes and goes. Character stays. Be the kind of man who does the right thing even when it costs you. He lived that truth every day. And now, I'm trying to do the same. Last Sunday, Angela and I had coffee at our usual diner. We were talking about her new relationship, about my plans to renovate the garage, about Mom and Dad's upcoming anniversary. Normal stuff. Healing stuff. Before we left, I pulled out my phone and texted her. Want to come over next Sunday instead? I'll make Grandpa's famous pancakes. She texted back immediately. I'll bring the maple syrup. And maybe I'll bring Daniel, too. You should meet him properly. I smiled, looking forward to it. As I drove home that afternoon, Portland looked beautiful. The rain had cleared, and the sun was actually shining. Cherry blossoms were starting to bloom on the trees lining my street. Spring was coming. I pulled into my driveway and sat in my car for a minute, looking at my house, my home. Built with money that was stolen and recovered. Built with pain that turned to growth. Built with love that survived betrayal. Grandpa would be proud. I want to ask you something, and I really hope you'll share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had someone betray your trust? Someone you thought you knew? How did you handle it? Did you forgive them, or did you walk away? And more importantly, do you think families can truly heal from that kind of betrayal? Or does something always stay broken? I'd love to hear your stories and perspectives. We're all just trying to figure this out together. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes knowing you're not alone in the struggle makes all the difference. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long, and I appreciate you sticking with me through all the twists and turns. Life is complicated and messy, and healing isn't a straight line, but it's possible. I promise you that. Take care of yourselves and each other. And remember what Grandpa taught me. Character stays. Be the person who does the right thing, even when it costs you. That's how we build lives worth living. Until next time, stay strong and keep fighting for what's right.